Hello to Shannon Roszell. How are you today?
I'm great, Ruben. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank me to chat to you today. So, can you tell me roughly how long have you been a singer-songwriter for?
Roughly a singer-songwriter. Officially, I would say for it's 2025, 12 years now. So not that long.
So, what was it like going into the recording studio called your debut single called "Gonna Love You"?
Oh, recording. So I did record it as part of my album and just sort of release those songs, drip them out over time. It was fantastic recording that. I recorded it with Frank Greiner. It was a fantastic process with him. Frank's a really talented man, and we just really clicked as people. So working with him was just an absolute pleasure. He's such an interesting and smart guy. So being with Frank is just it's always a really fun time. Great conversation. Yeah.
So, where did you get your inspiration for songwriting?
Oh, uh, that's an interesting question, Ruben. My inspiration for songwriting, I think it just comes from different places that I've been and different things that I've done. Um, but it's more things that I can't really sort of get out of my head. Do you know what I mean? Like things that keep replaying in my mind, that I keep coming back to, that seem to be sort of important enough to revisit time and time again. And that I guess need sort of like working through or processing. Or with "Gonna Love You," I guess it was sort of a bigger issue that I wanted to speak to, which was the state of the environment. That's sort of my only song that's about an issue, I guess. Uh, yeah.
So, could you tell me a single that was called "My Escape"?
Mhm. So My Escape was written, actually, it was co-written during a songwriting workshop. And that was a little bit of a different process because how it came to be, just because we were sort of assigned like a series of different criteria, and sort of bringing those criteria into one song was an interesting process, working with my co-writer. But My Escape for me really, again, that was thinking about end of a relationship and sort of um, how we process that and how we deal with sort of mentally the process of moving on. And it was also about like the summer heat wave and dealing with that, and how all of that sort of builds and adds pressure to us emotionally, and then the physicality of being in the summer in a heat wave. I was living in Toronto at the time and in a very hot apartment with no AC, so all of that came into the song.
So, the single I'm going to play from your debut album, touch about that very shortly. But can you tell me the single that is called about "And the Moon"?
And the moon. Yeah, and the moon was written actually about a moment in a conversation, sitting on the shores of Lake Ontario, in the Great Lake in Canada, and by Toronto, and just having a conversation with someone, like a romantic conversation where is something going to happen between this person? And they actually asked me a series of questions that I wasn't ready to have a conversation about. And the song very it actually just it quotes the conversation that I had, and I do that sometimes in my lyrics. I'll just sort of say exact lines in I'll quote people in my song. So whatever you say to me, I might use it. So be careful. Be on high alert. Um, I think specificity in songwriting is important. I think it makes songs relatable. Being specific in your writing, it's more interesting for the listener, in my opinion, and it really paints a picture. And that's what I was trying to do with my writing. And I think people have been in moments where somebody catches them absolutely off guard, and takes them to a place of vulnerability, because it's hard to lie to someone that you care about. They catch you off guard, and that's the moment. And the moon is really takes us into this very small moment and this very sort of large moon, I suppose.
So, what's it like to record your debut album?
Say that again, sorry.
What would you like to call your debut album called the Within the Shimmering Darkness?
Why did I call it that?
Now, what was it like to record it?
Well, what was it like to record it? I'm sorry. What was it like to record it? It was an interesting process. It actually, um, Frank Reiner lives quite far from me in Amherstburg, Ontario, which is quite far from me. I live in the Kawartha Lakes, so it's about 5 hours if you drive right there straight, maybe longer if you drive like me and you need some breaks and maybe a coffee or a snack. So how Frank and I did it, I would go down to Amherstburg and I would actually sort of stay in the town there, and I would go in and I would visit there for every month, and I would work with him for a couple days on some stuff, and I would visit him a number of times to work that way. So it was a bit of a different sort of recording period. So that spanned a while that we worked together in that way, because him coming into Toronto and me coming into Toronto and trying to figure out how we would do that, that was going to be a very challenging thing. So it was a fantastic experience working with Frank and recording that. For me, a lot of the joy of the album not only was finally getting these songs together and recorded, but it was also like the joy of the process and getting to realize these songs and take the songs to the next level with Frank. Because I did give him a lot of artistic liberties with the songs. I had the songs, I had them to a certain place with my live band. We played them live all over Toronto and the GTA. But when I was interviewing all of these different producers that I was interviewing, before I chose Frank, one of the big things was that, they've reached a certain point. This is what they're sounding like, but I'd like someone to be able to take them, reimagine them, and sort of elevate them to the next level. And I'm open to, the guitar doesn't have to sound like this, and this bass part doesn't have to be like this. I'm open to them. Like, let's open up the songs, let's open up the sound. And Frank was really excited by that, and he was really great at looking at that and taking that to the next level. So it was really exciting working with him. A lot of what we did when we first met was just like talk and get to know each other. So he knew me and what I was into and the kinds of things I liked and what I didn't like, and just me as a person and where I stood just with a lot of things in the world, which helped to inform artistically and aesthetically where we would go together with the album.
So, are you working on any new music in the near future?
I am. I'm actually writing my I guess my sophomore album right now. I've got 10 songs right now in different stages of completion. Some are done and I'm playing them live, which is really great. And some of them, I've written lyrics and some melodies and, I'm just tweaking the bridge still, or I'm working on this part. So just different levels of completion, but I'm really excited about it. My coach who I work with, he's like, if we thought that some of your last album was a little bit irreverent, this is like very irreverent. And I was like, oh, I'm just saying what I need to say. But it's interesting because it's coming out of a period where I wasn't really writing a lot. There's a lot that happened. I have a 3-year-old. There was a period of a lot of flux in my life, and I wasn't really writing. And then all of a sudden, since about December, it's just been like, I don't know. It's game time, Ruben. We're writing it. It's happening. I'm going to be looking for a producer and getting into the studio hopefully before the end of the year to get going on it. But every timeline has to be fairly elastic in my life just because there's a lot of pressures on different areas. So I don't know. Timelines are difficult. Do you know what I mean?
So, yes, definitely what you mean. So, you mentioned that you've got a band. So can you more about your band?
I do not have a band. I fired my band. They were lovely. They were lovely and they were great. They were very talented. My handsome band. But when I moved up to the Kawartha Lakes from Toronto, I did start playing solo. And my album is designed, Frank and I designed it to be played solo. Because touring these days with a band is very hard at my level. It's very hard to just accommodate everyone and pay people in a respectful way. So it has been created to be played in towards solo. And what I mean is the tracks in the show, it's designed to be played with voice, of course, and electric guitar. So I play guitar. And then all of it is played to track. And of course, when you listen to Within the Shimmering Darkness, you've probably heard there's not an electric bass and there's not like a drum kit. So you're not looking for a traditional band sound. It has more of an orchestral vibe, which is why I call it symphonic indie rock, is kind of the label I've given it. So when I'm playing it to track, there are these very lush symphonic background tracks that accompany it, with very challenging guitar parts that I play, and vocal melodies, of course. But when you listen to it, you're not like, oh, where's the drummer on his kit and where's the bass guitar? Because those sounds aren't there. Do you know what I mean? So when I am ready to fold in live players, the players that I'll fold in will be probably a violin player, would be one of the first people. And when the time comes for percussion, it won't be a drum kit. It would be more like timpani or larger scale, more orchestral kind of percussion instruments.
So, what's it like being a independent artist for you?
It can be really overwhelming, I think, because I don't know if it's just me, but as an artist, I just want to do the fun stuff, which is write the music, show up at the show with my guitar and just plug in and play. I just want to be the artist. And as an independent artist, of course, I'm also the marketer and the manager and the agent and the booker and the publisher. Like, I arrange literally everything else. So it is really overwhelming because all of these other jobs that I'm neither qualified nor trained to do also exist within my umbrella of duties. So I don't do them very well. And I think that definitely holds me back from a lot of potential that might exist there. And it can be very frustrating. But I think also as an independent artist, without a label, labels can be hard because if you're signed with a label, if your label doesn't let you do something, you don't do it. Or if your label doesn't focus on you doing something, like, you're not going to get it. So there are constraints within that framework as well. But there are also people who work for you when you have that. So I'm not sure. It is what it is. We live in a beautiful world, though, where we can create music and we can do it in a way where, like, I did track some of my vocals from my own studio, and then I was able to send them to Frank for inclusion in the album. And, like, what a world that is. That's such an exciting and liberating world. And I have learned some music production myself, so I can track some stuff myself. Basic stuff. I would never produce my own album by myself. That is definitely a job I do not want, Ruben. Oh my word. But we live in such a great world where these sorts of things are available to us. And the fact that we can get our own music out and available for people to listen to on Spotify, that was a gate that was closed, a number of years ago. And so the fact that independent artists can even be welcome to express and to distribute music is really exciting for us, I think.
So have you got any upcoming gigs you want to promote?
Yeah, I have some gigs. I think the one I'm most excited about would be on the 22nd of August. I'm playing at the Transat Club in Toronto with my friend Cedar Strip Rocket Ship, who's Dan Taylor, and so he's fantastic. So I'm excited to be going to Toronto with my debut album, so that'll be great. And then just some stuff. I'm playing at the local museum in town here on the 19th of July. And I host an open mic at the end of every month, the last Saturday of every month at the Cow and Sow in Fenland Falls. And it's nice. I'm the only female host of an open mic in my area, so that's fun. If you want this kind of energy, come over to my open mic. It's just a nice different energy over there. So that's a really fun thing that I get to do. And other than that, we're just really focusing on getting some other ducks in my row before I get going on my live show. Yeah.
So what about come over to the UK?
When am I coming to the UK? I would love to come to the UK. I did study there. I did my master's in performance practice and critical theory in Aberystwyth, Wales. So I've lived there and I love it. So I will be coming at some point. I think I need to wait for my daughter to be just a little bit old enough to fly without being an absolute chaos machine in the flight and driving everyone bananas for 7 hours. But I will be coming for sure. And hopefully we can book some festivals and then book around that. But I would love to come and definitely come see you in the Midlands in Birmingham area and get over there because there's so many great places to play where you guys are for sure. And that would be fantastic. I'd love to.
Yes, some great venues around UK, especially around Birmingham where I live. So finally, can you tell me this, where can I find you on your social media?
My social media? Absolutely. I'm on Spotify at, my name, Shannon Roszell, Roszell. And then just on Instagram, shannon.roszel. And then Facebook, of course, the same. Just my name on all of the platforms. You can look me up there. And I would love to have any new followers and come check me out. And that would be great.
Thank you for chat to you today.
Thank you so much, Ruben.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
You too.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.